Afternoon, this is Mike Farley, Farley Pool Designs, and we're happy to be here this afternoon.
My name's Trey Farley, Farley Pool Designs as well, and it's good to see all y'all.
Right, so we had we had our Christmas,
Yes,
as we talked about last week. Hopefully, I was going to come back and there would be no crutches or slings or anything like that.
No walker.
And no walker. All my extremities are still attached.
Same, yeah.
And so it was a fantastic ski trip. That we had. Got to teach my grandkids how to ski, which ensures that I get to ski for a long time in the future.
Yes, very good insurance, for sure.
Yes. Anyway, so Calvin was 3 and Liana is 5, and they had lots of fun in the snow, and they liked tubing as well, so that was fun. So
yeah, not much powder out there, but it was skiable for sure.
It was skiable. They're limited on snow so far this year, but we went where they made some snow.
Yes.
So the snow ended at the edges of the runs. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. So it's always fun to start a new year and look at goals and what we're trying to do. And so that's what we're trying to figure out as well. And it's interesting. We've talked to several people and got some advice on some things. So things that we're going to share with you.
Today, we're going to be talking about luxury pool design, but specifically luxury outdoor living, which is a huge, huge topic that we're dealing with every day.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And the term luxury outdoor living, I think it scales and it's different to a lot of different people depending on the perspective. And we have a very interesting perspective. Me and you both have different perspectives for sure.
Well, sure. And it has to do with I think, where you start from and where you go. So it was interesting. I got to go back home.
Yeah.
And visit with some family and see them over the holidays and think about how I grew up. And, there's essentials and there's luxuries. And so I grew up, essentials were very basic. And so luxuries was a lot of things above that. And through exposure and getting to be blessed and serve a lot of different people, I've got to change those definitions a little bit of what, you enjoy. Skiing's a luxury.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah. You probably don't think about that until you can't ski at a certain point.
And that happened for me. I couldn't ski and was told not to ski anymore.
Yeah, you were, which you did not listen.
I defied that rule.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I had to change what I did and how I did it to be able to enjoy that luxury. So anyway,
I can relate in a way because I snowboarded the last 2 years, and so it was a luxury the last year seeing people ski and not fall 24/7. Like I was okay where I could go down the mountain, but I would probably fall a good 10 times on the way down. It was fun, but it hurt a lot. Yeah. So it was a luxury seeing other people, not fall and get hurt, and I got to have that luxury this year.
Yeah,
which was nice.
Traded in the snowboard for some skis.
Yes,
so.
No bruises this time.
No bruises, no cracked helmets, none of that fun stuff, or non-fun. But anyway, luxury is something that, as Trey said, it comes from different perspectives.
What's luxury outdoor living to you?
Well, luxury outdoor living is creating an environment you can really enjoy. I think anything in a backyard besides grass is building on luxury.
Well, it depends also on the region, because you might not have grass in that region.
Okay, well, grass could be a luxury.
We're getting too deep with it though. But yeah.
But if you have a basic backyard, that's what it is. It's a basic backyard. You can go out there and play catch, right? So the dog can run around in it, but
exactly.
You can. There's not a lot of things to do in that space.
Yeah.
So building on that, I mean, luxury could be just a nice patio that you have that has some shade over the top that you can go out and sit and enjoy that space and maybe eat dinner outside and just have a place to go and enjoy. So, I mean, it could be just as simple as that. And that can be a luxurious setting for a backyard. And then you build on that, and well, it'd be cool instead of just having a place to sit under. It'd be cool if it had some nice lights.
Yes.
So lighting becomes something that adds a layer of luxury, and that's something you can add layer upon layer upon layer, because you can come in with some down lighting, and you can come some up lighting, and you might add some string lights, and then you might add some walkway lights, and well, let's add pool lights, which means we added a pool.
Yeah.
So those are all different levels, and if you've only had something that's very basic, and you've only had a structure without any lights at all, just to add simple string lights on it, that's luxury.
It is, because like you were saying with the basic backyard, I mean, if you have that at nighttime, you don't get to enjoy that space. Even, you let your dogs out, but you can't play catch in the backyard when it's dark.
Right.
So when you add those lights, it adds a layer of, it breaks down a layer of entry, a barrier, I guess you could say. So that is very important.
So, the next thing is, I've got a patio, I got some lights out there. It would be kind of fun to go out and enjoy the space. And one of the biggest things people enjoy is fire.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to add fire to that space. Well, that might be as simple as, when I first started out, is we put stones out there and, built the campfire like we did when we went camping.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we had fire.
Yeah.
Okay. But that there's only so much that's comfortable, because you have smoke and things like that. So
you're also introducing different senses. So you have, instead of just seeing, like being able to see with the lights, you can smell the firewood. You can hear it cracking. You're adding more senses to the human that we love to participate every single day. And you're enhancing the senses of your backyard, which I think is very, very special. And you're just adding layers on top of the layers that are gonna snowball into enjoying it even more.
Right. So, there's other senses that we can look at here in a little bit, and some things that we might be able to, help with those. But with the fire, then you look at, well, maybe it would be cool if I could have something like a solo stove so I can control the smoke. And so,
yeah.
Now I've got something that's a little bit more functional, and it creates a little better environment for me. And so that's a layer of luxury. And then some people are like, well, I'd like, to turn a gas key and not even have to deal with wood.
Yeah.
And so that's a layer of luxury. And then some people are like, well, I want to turn it on electronically remotely from my phone, so I don't have to deal with turning things on and off, and adds a layer of safety. So, I mean, those are all luxury.
Yes.
Okay. That you're adding on and creating into a space. So, but speaking of senses, so we've got the fire, we've got, the visual effect of it. If we burn wood, we have a smell as well. Don't think the gas is a great smell if you have gas going.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. You're smelling rotten eggs. It's like, oh, let's not light this thing.
Anyway, so,
yeah.
But you have other senses that, you're going to appear to in the backyard. And so, the next thing is hearing. I want to hear something in the backyard. And so that can be a lot of different things you could add to create luxury. But the first thing a lot of people add is just a simple fountain.
Yeah.
So if I can put a fountain in the backyard, I can create the sound of water.
Yeah.
And if I can create the sound of water, that gives me a lot of peace and tranquility.
Ties into that blue mind mentality.
Yeah. So just, it doesn't have to be something big. It can be just a small little freestanding fountain that you can buy at any garden center.
Yeah.
They can create something that gives a little bit of sound. Now, those aren't the easiest things to maintain.
No.
And
we don't typically deal with them either, because we're doing a lot of very big projects. So we're talking just about the basics of luxury right now.
Yeah.
It evolves. It gets higher. It's more iconic.
Correct. So, is someone that goes to a higher level is like, well, instead of just, a little garden fountain here that my little pump goes out and I got to bring my water hose over and fill, then we're going to build more of a custom water feature that may have an autofill on it.
Mm-hmm.
It may have a filter system on it.
Maybe an art piece.
It's got some kind of art piece into it. So, or, maybe I'm going to deal with koi instead of, maybe it's living art that's in my water feature or something like that. But we can add another layer of element to it, but it's still just, we've got a water feature, maybe a fire feature and a patio and, a little bit of cover. Some people say the cover, is needed because you need shade.
Yeah.
And other people are like, well, I got trees, so I don't necessarily need a cover, but then maybe I need cover from rain. Now, again, this all has to do with where you're at.
Yes.
Different environments are going to be different things that's going to create, the sense of luxury that you're trying to achieve. But, I've got something that sounds really cool. I've got something that looks pretty cool. I've got a place that I can eat and sit.
Smells good. Food's cooking.
Good. We going to have a kitchen? Is that what you said?
Can have a kitchen. That's a luxury that I really want to have one day, an outdoor kitchen.
So beyond the fire pit, we're roasting hot dogs and marshmallows?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to actually go full kitchen here. So, but a kitchen to some people, could be as simple as a green egg.
Yes.
Okay, so when I started, I had a lot of clients that had green eggs and talked about how fabulous they were. And so I was like, for me to sell this, it would be nice to experience it. And so I went and got a green egg off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
Spent just literally several hundreds of dollars for it, threw it in the front seat of my car because I didn't have a truck and drove it home, strapped it in because the seatbelt said, hey, there's someone riding next to you. So
it wouldn't stop beeping.
But I just, green egg, now I've got something I can cook in my backyard. So I've got, simple fountain maybe. I've got some lights and a patio, and now I've got an outdoor kitchen by just having a green egg. So, but then some people are like, well, that's too much work. It'd be nice to have a grill that's a gas-powered grill so I don't have to deal with lump charcoal, although I'll argue with people all day long on which is better to cook on at this point in time. But then it becomes, well, I don't just want a cart with a grill or a green egg on in its nest.
Yeah, standalone, roll around, little stand. You want to?
Well, they're called nests.
Okay, sorry, I'm not a green egger.
An egghead.
Egghead. Yes.
So, but some people are like, oh, I want a counter. I'd like a counter that I could maybe have some prep space and some places that I can plate things. And also along with that, it'd be nice to have a place that, I could have some paper towels maybe to clean my hands and a trash can. And well, let's go and have a refrigerator. So, I mean, that's where a lot of people start. And that's great for them. And then we have people that put everything that you can inside an indoor kitchen outside.
Exactly.
So, plus a pizza oven and a griddle and, all the things that necessarily they don't even have inside that they incorporate outside.
It kind of, when they do that, it really blends the lines between what's inside and what's outside, because it becomes, instead of like, outdoors and indoors, it becomes different spaces. Because you have the outdoor space to cook, you have the indoor space to cook, you have the outdoor space to eat, you have the indoor space to eat. It's a mirror. And also, for me, what outdoor luxury is a way to enjoy the outside regardless of the elements. Rain, snow, wind, all the elements that pretty much push people inside, taking that away and putting cover over. We go backpacking all the time. I was raised backpacking. So that itself means a lot to me. So when you have like those covers over the kitchen, or you have maybe a screen wall, so like maybe you want to enjoy a view with a vanishing edge, but you have a screen wall cabana area, so even when that big gust of wind hits that pool, you can still enjoy the outdoor space like in the covered patio.
So the client that we were working with today, picking materials, they wanted to enjoy it longer, so their level of luxury became screens.
Yes.
So they added screens so they could block the wind and provide shade on two sides. And then they added heaters in the ceiling so we could even extend the seasons that we're using. So even when it's cold outside, we can still crank up the heater and go outside and cook and eat and have time. Because the thing in blurring the lines between inside and outside, the huge advantage that we have is we have outdoor environment that's around us
Yeah.
to enjoy. And so one of the things when I was looking at luxury outdoor living that they said, and we talked about this briefly on Trends last week, is the plant material is becoming a bigger part of that environment. And we're trying to create a setting where we feel like we're in nature to some extent. So we've got this biopholytic design feel that's brought from, that's where they take nature inside. Well, we're just taking, inside out.
We're flipping the concept on its head.
Right. We're just taking all the stuff, the kitchen, like you said, the dining aspect of it. But even beyond that, okay, so luxury for some people is an outdoor shower.
Yeah.
I just want to go outside and take my shower and be surrounded by nature and the sounds and just hearing the wind blowing the trees and hear the birds and hear, all the different things. I want an outdoor shower. So I want that aspect outside now. So to me, that's luxury. Some people, I want to sleep outside.
Yeah.
I want a day bed. Okay. So give me a bed outside or a swing that I can just hang out on and enjoy and kick back and, have a cozy environment, outside, I know you like it really cold.
Oh yeah. I love it cold.
And so, maybe we could build a day bed and you can go sleep outside tonight.
It would be very cold. That's for sure.
Well, it certainly gets below your 60-degree
benchmark. Yeah.
Benchmark. Yeah. I think we're going to 20 tonight.
Oh man, that's going to be really cold. I would have to have a lot of blankets for sure.
A lot of blankets. Yeah. That's even when we're backpacking, that's getting down there.
Yeah.
My 30-degree bag would be pushing the limit. So it's Mike Farley from Poolside Perspective Podcast, and we have a disaster today. It's been snowing, so we haven't gone out and cooked. So we've got some meat in the fridge that needs to be cooked, and we're ready to get it going, but we realized we're without our fire starter for our big green egg. So we've got to go with an emergency process here. So this is a little trick that I've learned if you don't have a loaf lighter or something cool like that, is we're going to take some oil and we're just going to put a little bit of oil here in a bowl, and then we're going to take some paper towels and we're going to put those paper towels in the bowl itself and have them soak up the oil. And then we're going to go out and use this as our fire starter. So we'll go outside and show you how this works. So we're going to take 3 pieces of charcoal. They're 3-4 inches long, not real thick. We're going to take these pieces of charcoal and we're going to wrap them in the oil-soaked paper, and then we'll place them in the grill. So let me set this up. So now we've got our 3 pieces of wrapped up charcoal. We're going to place them in the green egg here, and we're going to set them up so just like you would your fire starter in here, and then come in and light these guys. So okay, so you can see you got a good bed of coals there, good bed of coals there, good bed of coals there. So we got coals from all 3 starters going well. So we just need to wait for this green egg to get up to 700 degrees so we can cook our ribeyes.
You were talking about the different clients, and luxury outdoor living differs depending on the client itself, because you have a price tag attached to all these things, but there's it's worth more to certain items. Like a lot of people like water features, some people don't. Some people love fire pits, some people don't.
Yeah. So the client that wanted the screens and the heaters, there's not a water feature on that pool.
Yeah.
to him, well, he's got a pond that has a water feature in it. So he's like, I've already got the sound of water. You don't need to add anything here on my pool.
Yeah.
But, I want other things that, create a sense of luxury for me.
Yeah. Shelter is big for him because he wants to be outdoors and
Right.
warm.
So in that particular project, we have a structure that's specifically for the kitchen area. And then we have another area that's specifically for the outdoor TV and the swim up bar, and a place to hang out in as well. So, different things. So some people, luxury is, hey, I need a hot tub.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get a freestanding hot tub to put in my backyard. That's going to give me the sound of water because I'm going to hear a lot of jets going. I get heated water. I can have a place to relax. I can have a place to socialize with my friends. I can just chill out and be by myself. So some people that's luxury, and other people are like, well, no, I want that attached to a swimming pool. And so, I want the aspects that come with that. But in your hot tub aspect, now some people are like, well, I don't want just a hot tub. I need a hot tub and a chiller. And
it's very popular now.
Yeah. So, I want to participate and have both those situations set up for me. And some people are like, well, I'm really into wellness and I want a hot tub and I want a chiller and I want a sauna.
Yeah. Sauna. And then the shower also bakes into that. And then like a patio space, maybe a turf area where you can do stretches, yoga, ab workouts, whatever it might be. So that's a huge topic right now because it's January. It's the beginning of the year. A lot of people want to be healthy, want to be fit.
Oh, you're plugging next week's episode?
Am I doing that? I guess I might be.
Yes, you are. So we've got several regarding health and wellness, but next week is specifically on that.
So stay tuned for that.
So in a very general, specific thing, then we're going to break into several specifics of some of the things we just mentioned in upcoming weeks as well.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think luxury outdoor living, why do you think there's such a trend in that with homeowners nowadays?
Well, again, and I've said this on numerous episodes in the past, I think events occur that change lifestyle. So going back in my career, lifestyle totally changed after 9/11. So what happened after 9/11 is people wanted to interact with each other a lot in the outside environment. And what happened is what that drove was the development of the outdoor porch. Okay. Which if you go to a lot of houses that were built before 99, the back porches were very small or non-existent. Okay. And I have projects now that people have more on their back porch than the square footage of my house. So
it's true. There are some big back porches.
There's some really big ones. But people want to live outside. And so in 1999, after 9/11, people wanted to congregate and be together more. And so they wanted places to hang out. So the two things that exploded at that point in time was the outdoor kitchen, which before that, I could count on one hand how many outdoor kitchens I built.
Wow.
In my first, what was that, 15 years in my career.
That's really weird for me because I grew up in pools and that was like my big first gig. And, when you start out, you're on the smaller jobs, maintaining and doing punch outs and stuff like that. And even on the small jobs, they have outdoor kitchens. And you're talking about like a simple egg setup, but, bar top and stuff like that. It's pretty standard for what I've seen, even at the low levels. So it's very surprising that they didn't have anything at all.
Nothing.
Just a pool.
Just a pool. You go look at the houses that were built before 2000 and the pools, and there was no outdoor kitchens. Okay. There weren't big patios. And so that's the first thing is that occurred and that changed the industry a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So then COVID happened and COVID drove people outside to get away from their children.
Yes.
Okay. Because their children were driving them nuts after 2 weeks at home and everybody's under the same roof. And so either they sent the kids outside or they went outside.
Yeah.
And what they realized is it's kind of nice out here. People went on walks and they did things. And it was, it was perfect the time of year because COVID hit. What was it, mid-March or something like that?
Yeah, it was the beginning of March.
About 4 weeks into it, you're mid-spring,
going into summer.
The flowers are blooming, the weather's great, people are going on walks, and it's kind of like, wow, in the evenings people hung out, and it was like, this is nice. And so I'd like to be out here more and do more things outside. The other thing is people realized, wow, if we entertain the kids, life is a whole lot easier, and we're not going on vacation somewhere because we can't travel.
No, everything's locked down.
We're all locked into this cocoon space. So let's build out this cocoon space as much as we can.
Yeah.
And so that's when people started doing, and I describe it as they wanted inside, outside. So everything that occurs inside the house, now there was a demand for it outside.
Yeah. And I'm remembering back, like, I know in Texas, and that's where we're based, there was a lot of events that could happen, but they had to be outside. There wasn't a lot of stuff happening indoors. Like, you could eat indoors with masks on and stuff like that, but predominantly the businesses were trying to utilize outdoor spaces because of the fresh air.
Right.
And also, if you have a big family, a bunch of different siblings, who knows if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You don't want to be inside because, the airflow. So go get that fresh air. That just adds to what you're talking about.
Right. So everybody found out it's kind of nice to have dinner outside.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of nice to cook a meal outside. And so,
or read a book or whatever.
Or read a book. So I had one client, and we finished their project right before COVID hit.
Okay.
And they said their backyard changed their lives.
Oh, I bet.
Okay. And I ran into them 9 months later after COVID, and they're like, oh, this has been amazing on steroids. So they created a space that they had, I think it was 7 kids under the age of 10.
Okay. That's a lot.
And they created a pool area, and they had a fun slide. But the other thing they did is in the non-pool area, they put a fire pit and a splash pad.
Okay.
And it was a pretty good size.
I know what job you're talking about. Yeah.
So, and it was that splash pad actually was the focal point. If you drove up the driveway, you looked through the front windows, the front door, you looked through the house, and you looked at the splash pad. So as you're driving in their entry, you can see the splash pad running at night, because it's all LED lit and everything like that. And they said that every evening they went out on the back porch, and the kids would play on the splash pad, and then they would all sit around the fire pit and tell stories and roast marshmallows and just, have a good time. They didn't even go into the pool area. So this was just, they had the sound of water, they had the visual effects, they had the fire, and they had a patio area, and that was phenomenal. That changed their lives.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then across the fence, they had the pool and the slide, and they had the outdoor kitchen, the outdoor living area. And
this is the neighbor.
No, this is their glass.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Across their glass fence.
Different section of the yard.
So they had, from a safety standpoint, the two areas separated, but they wanted to be able to see them.
Yeah.
So they had 2 cabanas. One was a living room and a bathroom, and the other one was the full kitchen. And then they had an outdoor kitchen, and then they had the shade structure in between that had all kinds of tables and built-in TVs and stuff like that. So anyway, but again, luxury is just something that, is giving you, something beyond just a plain space. So, I mean, but there's layers upon layers upon layers of that. So it's, cars are similar. I mean, some people are like, I can go get a Lexus and that's a luxury car.
Yeah.
And other people are like, that's a basic car.
That's how I thought I thought a Lexus was a luxury car growing up. I didn't know much about cars at all, but I knew that the car rode really smooth and the seats were very comfy, and it had a couple features that I didn't see in the Civics that we were driving at the time. So my perspective at that age, I thought that was luxury.
So do you still think that's luxury?
Yeah, no, the Lexus makes an amazing car. Now the 1999 Lexus that I thought was luxury back then, probably not as much, because of maintenance and all that kind of stuff too.
But, you've seen other cars and there's other layers upon that. So, I mean, we got our, Honda Pilot, and we got it and we thought, we got another layer of luxury. We got heated seats.
Oh yeah. Heated steering wheel.
Yeah. So,
big console. Oh yeah.
Those are the things that, when you go on a ski trip, those are nice to have.
Oh yeah. A lot of space, the big screen for the GPS. So yeah, that is a luxury.
Yeah. So we were talking about,
but our family doesn't spend a lot of money on cars. So a lot of people are probably hearing this and are like, what are you talking about? That's like a standard now.
Right.
So it's just a perspective. Well,
right. We buy our cars and drive them into the ground.
Yes. So. And then replace the engine and drive them more. But,
it's just everybody's different on that aspect.
I want to ask you a question. What distinguishes a luxury outdoor space from a standard backyard setup, in your opinion?
Well, it's about the craftsmanship and the layers of details and the layers of options that you give somebody. So my feeling is I'd rather tell people about things and have them go, okay, you pushed my line too far.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't need that. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's absurd.
But I'd rather tell somebody about something like that versus later on them like, well, nobody even mentioned that to me, and that would have been really cool to do, and now I can't do that. So some people would say an in-floor cleaning system for a swimming pool is stupid.
I've heard that many times, but typically they don't have them.
And everybody that I've almost talked to is like, okay, I'm into my life.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy my things as low maintenance as possible.
Yep.
And so if this gives me a layer of luxury and the fact that my pool cleans itself without having to have a pool cleaner come in or a robot run around in the bottom of my pool, that's a layer of luxury that I certainly want. Yes. So
that's the majority of our clients.
Well, it's a majority of our clients, but everybody, again, is different of where that line is. So my feeling is it's better to expose them to something than have them no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah.
So there was a designer in the pool industry years ago, and his name was Lou Akins.
Okay.
And Lou's philosophy was you tell them about everything. So you tell them about solar heating. You tell them about in-floor cleaning. You tell them about, all tile pools. You tell them about, water features and, fire features and all these different things. And he said the challenge is if you tell them about everything and include all the things involved in it, there's two ways to go about it. So one is you basically expose them to everything and give them the number of where you're going to start.
Yeah.
And he said, then they're shocked once and then they peel layers off that aren't important to them.
Yeah.
And most of the time, most people aren't aware of all the options that are there. They end up, with what's best for them. But a lot of times they're like, I wasn't planning on spending this, but now that I'm aware of these different things, this is the investment that I want to make. And I have some clients that even are like, I'd rather a client wait a year and do what's right for them than build something and not inform them about something and then have them later on regret it.
Well, it makes sense because you want to build their dream. You want to design their dream. And so if they don't even know what's possible, then they don't even know what they can dream of.
Well, and the challenge is someday they'll find out what's possible.
Yeah.
And then later on, they'll be like, well, how come you didn't talk to me about that?
Exactly.
Okay. And there's some of those things that you could then add on later on.
Some of them.
Yeah. But some of them, you're too late.
Yeah. Or it's just way more cost than it would be originally.
Right. So,
would have been.
It's better to, inform them so that they make educated decisions. So to me, luxury is giving them what's ideal for them.
Yeah.
And that point goes back and forth with everybody. Okay. So somebody that's never had a pool, never had a spa, and, never had an outdoor kitchen, never had a patio, their layer of luxury is certainly lower than somebody that's they're sitting there designing their dream home, and they're in their 60s, and this is the last one they're going to ever build, and this is the fifth pool that they've done. The definitions are different.
Yeah. We'll take the floor system example. Someone that first builds their pool might not even think, oh, it's just a cleaner. All I got to do is like reach into the pool and pull the cleaner out and empty the bag. That's all I got to do. That's nothing. And then they have to do that in the middle of the winter, and they realize that it sucks. And then they also realize that, hey, seeing that long hose around my pool, that's beautiful. It's kind of not aesthetically pleasing to me anymore. And so the next time they might get a floor system.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, well, and I tell people that with like a floor system, I say people that have had a pool before, the ones that want this, when I tell them about it, the percentage is very high.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's not necessarily the case on somebody that's never had a pool, but on returning people, I mean,
it's higher.
It's higher because they have a knowledge base of, yes, how much a cleaner, I'm tired of it breaking every year and me going down and having it repaired. So I'd rather have something that's a low maintenance system that, takes care of it. So
that's a good thing about you. You explain the options to people that they don't know what exists yet. So even those first time clients are educated on that decision.
Yeah. So, well, I want them to be a repeat client. It's all self-motivated.
Exactly.
So I'm all about, trying to make them happy so then they come back and see me again. But no, it's just, everybody's a little bit different in their philosophy, but that's to me the difference between basic and luxury is I can't define that for the client.
No.
So I can give them information so they can make that definition.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Are there specific materials, designs, or brands associated with high-end outdoor living? Because there are when it comes to other different products, different industries, right? You have high-end phones, you have the iPhone, whatever else is out there, because I only use iPhone. But you know what I'm saying?
Well, you got high-end cars, you got high-end watches, you got high-end,
jewelry,
lots of different things. So
shoes, clothes.
Okay, so you ran across several things. So first thing would be materials.
Yeah.
Okay, so materials, we're picking a kitchen countertop today. Are we going to do Decton? Are we going to do granite? Are we going to do limestone? Are we going to do tile?
Oh, you don't do concrete?
Well, no, I don't do concrete. But again, different parts of the country, different products work better.
Yeah.
But, so the client, it came down to, well, we're certainly not going to do limestone because it stains very badly over a period of time.
Yes.
And we don't have soapstone in this part of the country, which is really good countertop. I understand that's used a lot back east. So we're looking at granite, and we're looking at Decton, and we're looking at a black material, and, black granite and black Decton there's some substantial cost difference based on the amount of counters that I have here. And so what was best for them was a black granite. So, are there materials that are considered luxurious? Well, granite and Decton are certainly a lot more luxurious versus the countertop that I dealt with over the weekend, which was all tile with wide grout joints. And I was like, man, I haven't seen this in decades. But when I did those 5 kitchens back before 1999, that's predominantly what most people used on their countertops. Was tile.
Spilling a lot of drinks.
And, everything shimmied around a little bit, and the grout joints got filthy, and you were always trying to clean them and stuff like that. And so,
the grout fades after you clean it.
Luxury to go from there was to go to a limestone counter because it's just one piece and you could seal it. But that stained horribly. So to move up from that, luxury was then, a granite countertop. And then some people were like, but I don't like the way the granite looks. And so I really like this Decton that looks like marble. So it gives me this marble finish, but I don't have any maintenance issues. There's zero maintenance on this. So again, that would be materials. So you said materials.
I do want to add a point. I think with you is interesting. Yeah. So with the materials thing, a lot of people, I'd assume, are just looking at the aesthetics of things. And you're very, you like diving into the weeds and letting people know about maintenance. And that's also about the functionality of the materials, which you already kind of pointed out in the what you just talked about, but I just want to make that a kind of a little bit more obvious.
There are some people that view this whole thing as art.
Exactly.
Okay. And as art, basically, you're limited by what's going to look the best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is reality
Yes.
of how things function sometimes.
Time is a factor.
Okay. And so, what you have to look at is there's some things that, I point out to clients, this is going to be beautiful, but there's going to be more maintenance to it.
Over time,
And some people are like, you know what? Then I'm fine with pivoting over here and using this because it's not quite as beautiful, but I'm into what's going to be low maintenance. And to me, that's fine. I'm not creating art. I'm creating what's best for my client.
There are options like Decton that are functionally sound and also aesthetically beautiful.
Right. So, but you got to weigh all these different things to come up with
what's best for the client.
My philosophy is what's best for the client.
Yeah.
Some people's philosophy is we're going to create an object of beauty in the backyard, and no, you can't use that because it's more functional. It's not as pretty. And so we want to use just this.
And then they take the pictures really quickly. And then a couple of years later, they hate the guy.
But it was beautiful.
It was at the time.
And so, but there's some people that are like, and I'm fine with that. And I'll go fix it because it'll still be beautiful. And I can keep it beautiful all the time. And I'm willing to pay the expense, or it's usually pay the expense to fix it. So, but that's fine. Everybody's different in that interpretation. To me, there's not a right or wrong. It's, again, what's best for the client. So
the next one was brands. So this is a little tricky.
So brands are certain brands that equivocate with luxuries.
There's a bunch of different companies that come to my head. But
so the first one that comes to me is Tucci.
Yes.
Okay, as an umbrella. Okay, that is a brand that creates something that's very well crafted and is beautiful, and there's a lot of different options, but that's it's certainly a luxurious umbrella versus, you go down and get an umbrella at a store. Now, so what a lot of people are looking at today is they want something that's sustainable. And so what they're looking at is something that I'm not going to use for a season and throw it away.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking for something that's going to stay here for 15 or 20 years. And so you look at things differently when you look at that. So but then some people are like, why in the world do I buy something that's going to last 20 years? I don't know if I'm going to be in this house too. So, your perspective is different on that, but they make a fabulous thing. So there's different, materials that you're going to look at that fit that type of situation. So, there's different lines of furniture. There's different, features that you can put on, the pool itself. Lighting's a big deal right now. So PAL makes a tremendous product from a lighting standpoint.
For trim lighting, yeah.
But there's a lot more that goes into installing that type of feature.
Yeah.
Again, is that worth the cost? The capabilities of what it can do. So again, everybody has to weigh that type of thing out.
Yeah. Landscaping, elegant greenery. That's a big one too.
So,
but not necessarily brands, I guess. But maybe you're the tree hugger. You're the plant expert. Maybe there are different types of plants that are
brands of plants.
No, it'd be more types.
So,
breeds.
There's certain nurseries that have created certain types of plants and hybrids that create certain things that are really good. I'm not as much a plant geek as I used to be, but there were particular nurseries that were well known in the landscape industry that created certain hybrids over time. So that can be something, but typically plants aren't a brand. So
no, they're not.
There's certain trends that have come up, and we discussed those a lot last week in the episode.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking at certain things that are trends for luxury, you want to, if you haven't checked out that episode, go back and listen to that. I don't want to recap all that, even though you were sick and just cut out on me.
Well, I had 102 fever for 3 days.
Well,
so.
I guess we didn't want you to get spider sick.
Yeah.
Although he's behind the glass, so he would have probably been safe.
You never know, though.
Yeah, that's true. Germs go everywhere.
These days, people are talking crazy. You hear about the fog. People are saying that's hurting people now, giving people flu-like symptoms.
So it was probably on the news, and so I don't know anything about it since I don't listen to the news.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of crazy stories going around these days. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was how are technology and smart features being integrated into outdoor spaces.
So we talked actually about that on as well.
Okay.
Yes, and I said electronics would all be about you understanding things because I don't know much about electronics. But I was just... You want to go check out that episode, but the two things tech-wise, the smart kitchens are becoming a bigger thing, and so you can control everything from your phone. They even have those situations that you can set up, your pellet grill, so it almost works as good as a green egg.
So close.
Anyway, and it's supposedly less maintenance because you can control all these things. But also with lighting, outdoor lighting, there's a lot of things in tech that's taking place that, check that out.
Oh, yeah. And it definitely, if you get a pool nowadays, you need to make sure you can control it from a phone. Because we heard that one story where the guy did the old computer style, like an amazing job, and then just installed this like old style computer where they had to go turn everything.
He didn't even do a computer. He did time
clock. That's what it was. Yeah.
A time clock. Yes. So yes, if you're getting a pool and they're going to give you a time clock, run.
Run for the hills.
Because you need everything to be controlled from a computer, and everything then can be controlled from your phone. But the other thing is with what's really, if you get into lighting aspects, the LED lights that are used outside in the environment as well as in pools, but outdoor living structures, landscape lighting, there's a lot of cool stuff with the LED lights and that.
So. Oh, yeah. And just another little tidbit I want to add on there. We've used Jandy products a lot, but, we don't, it doesn't matter about the brand, but there is the technology now where it used to be there's a certain amount of auxiliaries, so you can have a certain amount of features or whatever it might be on a computer. And now they're having more stuff electrical, and it's just really cool because it opens up the space without having to up the ante of the cost for a computer, which is nice. And then the lights also, you can change the lights a lot easier these days. But styles is a very important topic when it comes to luxury design. So I know there's like Mediterranean styles, there's the simplistic modern styles, there's a bunch of different styles out there. What comes to your mind when you think of luxury outdoor living?
From a style standpoint?
Well, if someone's talking about styles in that general area, because my opinion differs from yours, I'm sure. And it's not styles predominantly that you like the most, but just one you think is trendy.
So I think you can, the thing from a luxury standpoint is you can be more authentic in what you're representing from a style standpoint. Okay. So materials, for example, when I first got into the industry, my materials were located from a 100-mile radius.
Okay.
So my materials today are worldwide.
They are, yeah.
I'm getting materials from all over the world. So it's not uncommon to get stone imported from all kinds of different places.
Turkey, Mexico, you name it.
I mean, so it's just, so we did a project this last year, which style-wise was totally organic. It was all boulders.
It's a beautiful job.
We typically source the boulders out of Oklahoma.
Not this time.
Not this time. We wanted a certain color.
Yeah.
So we looked around and we finally found a quarry up near Aspen that we had to literally wait for the snow to melt for them to be able to get the boulders. And then at the end, it was like, okay, if you want any more, you better hurry because it's fixing to shut down because the quarry is going to be shut down again for the winter again.
Yeah.
So we only had a certain window, but we were able to get a certain color. So that's the cool thing, is you can bring in features, well, I want this particular look. Well, that was a limestone water trough that was used in France, hundreds of years ago. And we're going to take that and now make it a water feature because it fits the style of what we're trying to create. So we can go get things that are going to be more authentic to the design style that we're trying to create by being able to source things from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't answer the exact question that you had, but
no, it's a good answer. And it's.
I don't think there's a style that says luxury, although
that's true. Yeah.
There are some people that what goes to luxury is, where do I go on vacation? Okay. So to me, that is the luxurious place.
It's paradise.
That's paradise. And so I want to create that in my home environment. Okay. So, but that could be Greece. That could be the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That could be Alaska. It could be a lot of different places that I get that feel of luxury that I want to duplicate.
Yeah.
Those encompass all different styles. Okay. So it's just, what your definition is. And the fun thing is that's the fun of me. My job is when somebody says, this is what I want to create. I want to create this feeling from Thailand that the resort there had, and I want to incorporate some of those elements here in my backyard.
The plants, the architecture, the environment,
water
everything.
Features, everything. Versus I want this setting in Greece, which is totally different, or I want some place in Italy, that's totally different, or I want to go to Japan and I want this particular feel, or I'm now in New Zealand and I want this. I mean, that's the fun, is you can create all those different feels.
Yeah.
So, now of course it would require a road trip for me to travel there to get it really authentic.
Oh, of course, you got to get the inspiration. You got to be there.
Right.
Put your feet on the ground.
In the sand.
Yeah. What are key considerations when designing for families, couples, or solo relaxation? What differs between those?
What differs between a solo
couples
versus a couple
families.
Versus a family? Well,
because we design stuff for all different sizes of families.
Well, here's the thing I tell people. The first thing I want to understand is, how long do you think you're going to be here?
Okay.
Now, generally, you're there longer than you think you're going to be.
Typically.
But
we do have those people that like going through the process, and then they flip the house and it sells a lot more than a lot of people say. You build a pool, you're going to waste your money, you got to live there, but it doesn't seem to be the case these days.
Well, if it's well done.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. If it's well done. So if it's luxurious.
Grand.
The funny thing is, I've designed environments for all those situations, and then they change.
Oh.
So you have to think about things. I designed a pool very early in my career, and they were triathletes.
Okay.
Husband and wife. This is in Northern California, and they're like, we want a 75-foot long lap pool.
Oh my goodness.
6 feet wide.
Oh my.
And I was like, that's it? 75 by 6? And they're like, yeah, 75 by 6. And I said, what if we make a little of it bigger at some point, that you can use it as something other than a lap pool? We won't use it for anything other than a lap pool.
Or get like a swim jet or swim lane or whatever it's called.
They were all about the
length,
the length, and doing a flip.
They don't
turn
like treadmills. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So and given, again, this was early in my career. This is about 1995. There wasn't a lot of things that performed well.
Okay.
They didn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
So we want 75 feet long. And I talked them into, I said, how about we take 10 feet off and make it 65 feet long?
Okay.
And then we make it, instead of 6 feet, at one point we make it 16 feet wide.
Yeah.
Now the perimeter is exactly the same.
Okay.
So the cost
It's the same.
is the same.
For people that are listening, like, what is the perimeter even
Okay,
mean?
it's the distance around. So it ended up the same. So I made this pool, and in the middle was an area where you could kind of float around and hang out, and there was a little bit of a ledge, and it was funny. That was the very first sheer descent that I ever did.
Oh, wow.
Stainless steel. They had just started making them. The company's name was Oric, and they're still in business. And it was a 12-inch long sheer descent, and that 12-inch sheer descent was like $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Because they were using such a high grade of stainless steel, and they were the very first ones that were doing this thing.
That's
anyway,
cool.
So it was really cool. And so I did this, bumped it out, made this. And so 3 years later, I go back to visit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kiddie fence around the pool.
Oh, no.
And this couple was like, we're never having kids.
What? Okay.
This is just for exercise.
That's what happens when you say you're never having kids. You end up pregnant.
Anyway.
It tends to happen, at least.
So anyway, they said, we're so glad you made us bump this part out in the middle, because otherwise we would have sold the house and left.
Yeah.
Okay. But we still have a functional pool. And so you want to think about things as you're designing, that if things don't ever change, that, you know, you're still happy, but that it might have some flexibility of function for somebody else, or your situation may change.
Yeah. What if they did sell the house? It would have been a hard time to sell that pool originally that they had in mind.
And I'm sure it probably was if they've ever sold it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should go on Google Maps and see if it's ever been modified.
Well, if it's in California, it's still worth quite a bit of money.
Anyway, so the issue is, you know, I had a client that I developed a whole backyard for, and they were like, we're into total outdoor entertainment and we want a slide. Because I said, why do you want to slide? You don't have kids. And they're like, we're adults. We want to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm totally into it. But then, you know, after we finished their project, they had 3 kids in the next 5 years. And that wasn't the intent when they designed the space. Now they're building a new place right now. So it's been about 6-7 years. And the slide has gotten 3 to 4 times bigger. And they had a long slide comparatively in that time period.
Oh, wow. They upgraded.
So they're doing a massive slide now and a big pool and stuff like that. But, you know, people change. So, you know, well, okay, a slide, you know, what used to be luxurious for some families is a 15-foot long slide.
Yeah.
I mean, I built those, tons of them. And then all of a sudden, right before COVID hit, and we talked about this in the dolphin slide episode, all of a sudden people wanted longer slides. And after COVID, it was like the thing went on steroids. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do more non-standard 15-foot slides. I do more customs than I do standards these days.
Yeah.
Anyway, but everybody's different.
Everybody is different. How does climate and geography influence luxury outdoor living, in your opinion? Because you've designed in 2 different spots, Texas and California. And you also know a bunch of different people that do different things. Like, for instance, I met a guy at the show in Canada, and he had to, when they plaster the pool, they have to, and this isn't really design, this is kind of more of the process of getting a pool done, but they have to tent everything when they plaster it because it's so cold up there. And when it cures, they don't want it too cold. But with design for luxury outdoor living
in the north or the east where it's cold, they do heated decks.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Sure.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Does it?
So it melts the snow.
Oh yeah, they do that on sidewalks as well to like the ballpark. I think the Bills. That's interesting.
You know, so there's things like that we don't deal with that I know exist. But the other thing is there are people that also have enclosures that go over their pool.
Oh, that's cool.
So they can then heat that space and continue to swim, you know, for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So that's something that's common in some other areas. Pool covers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It can become a very big deal. So like you go to Utah, almost every pool has a cover.
To keep it heated.
So they can keep the thing heated and extend the season as long as they can.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal in certain parts of the country. So, in certain parts of the country, they shut the pool down in the wintertime.
Mm.
But in certain parts of the country, heaters were in Texas. It's kind of like, well, it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
Well, up there, it's a really
a requirement.
Well, we want to enjoy the season longer.
Yeah.
We need the capability to go longer.
The cold season's longer too.
Right. So
and probably in like California or Florida, you don't have that situation,
Right. So, misters are a big deal in Arizona because if you do misting, it really creates a much more comfortable environment because it's so hot and it's so dry.
Yeah.
Okay. But you put a mister on in Houston and it's the most worthless piece of garbage in the world because the humidity level is already so high. Misting's just going to make everything wet.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not creating a nice environment. No. So, and I have people come from certain parts of the country and they're like, I want this because we had it where I lived.
Oh yeah. Salt water's a big one with that.
Yeah. So, if you come from Florida or California, if you go back and listen to our episode on salt water, there's certain things in those environments that make it more conducive for salt versus it's a disaster to use it here.
Yeah.
So not that it's wrong in certain parts of the country, but in certain parts of the country,
it's more likely. Yeah.
There's going to be more problems associated with it. So
tiles like that too, glass tile.
Well, okay, there's certain ceramic tiles that are porous that you can use in Florida, Arizona, California, because it doesn't freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but here tonight, it's going to go down to 20 degrees. In Texas, we're not accommodated to cold temperatures, so we all freak out. And, well, I shouldn't say we all. They do.
Yeah.
I sit and kind of laugh, but when they talk about everybody gets off the roads, I get off the roads because everybody's crazy when they're driving in ice and snow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In Kansas City, they laugh hysterically at us, I'm sure, in other parts of the country.
Let me ask you a question. Are there cultural influences that inspire unique outdoor living designs?
So certain cultures like to cook differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big one.
So there's certain aspects that if you understand how they're going to use the space situation. So case in example, there's different types of griddles that you might use, from a cultural standpoint. There's some people that will use like an Evo griddle. It's a round griddle, and they're all going to be seated around this, and it's an interaction thing. So
it's kind of like when I go to like hibachi or something like
correct.
that. Yeah.
So from a culture standpoint, that's one situation that some people cook on different methods, like a Santa Maria grill, where it's mainly like a spit that's moving up and down over the coals. So that would be one of the things that, if you understood the culture, you could create the best situation for them.
Yeah.
For how they cook.
Like my fiance's family, Italian and Polish, they love pizza oven. Like they would love to have a pizza oven in their backyard. Actually, they do. Wood one.
So, almost everybody wants a pizza oven today.
Yeah.
So, but yes, culturally, some people are much more adept at cooking on it than others.
That's true.
But again, if you investigate how the family's going to live, some people, from a culture standpoint are like, we talked with Scott Cohen a couple weeks ago that are very much into, he's in California and the wine industry out there is real big. And so a lot of people are really into different wines and things like that. So how he builds and creates things to set up, so they've got, set up, it could be as simple as the drop-in cooler is deep enough to handle a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's just something that you have to talk to people about so you understand how they're going to use the space, so we put a wine chiller in.
A lot. But is there any in particular that come to your head today?
The first thing that comes to my mind is there are countless companies that put luxury in their name.
Okay.
Let's say they are luxury XYZ.
Yeah.
And there was a company that I know of, and they designed the perfect luxury pool.
That's nice.
Okay, so the designer was like, this is the perfect luxury pool.
Yeah.
He built that pool down in Austin. He started his own pool company, and he built that pool 23 times in one neighborhood.
Oh. So it's like a birdhouse builder when it comes to homes. It's like a mass production thing.
He said it's the perfect pool. So he told everybody after they talked to him, well, I've got the perfect pool for you. And
interesting. One size fits all.
One size fits all.
That doesn't seem like luxury.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This was a crime because there was nothing custom about this.
No, it doesn't.
He said if the fences blew down, the neighbors would all get after him because they all thought they had a unique situation, and he designed the same thing over and over and over again.
Oh, well, now we got drones too. Hopefully they're not test flying in their backyards.
Right.
They're gonna see everything.
Today some people would say, well, everybody does a rectangle, so what does it matter? But I think that if you're going to get a luxury product, you need to know about what's possible. And for you to end up with the same pool as everybody else in your neighborhood would be pretty far-fetched.
Yeah.
So I think that was a crime that he talked to everybody about this being the perfect thing. And actually what drove me nuts is in his luxury perfect pool, his spa was 6 foot around, which we talked about in the past.
Yes.
About a 6 foot round spa being a true crime.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was on his perfect pool. Anyway, but the crime is where somebody is saying they're going to provide luxury, but they do the same thing on every single job.
Yeah. Because
clients are different. Yeah. So luxury should be different for different people. And so there should be variety and options and things like that for you to end up with what's the true luxury for
luxury
you.
Should be custom fitted. It should be tailored to your needs, to your wants. Yeah.
Yes. So this is the difference between a store-bought suit and a custom-made suit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one is luxurious and one is not.
Yeah.
Okay. Even something that's,
people are built different. And also on top of that, people have different comfortable levels. Like some people like skinny pants, some people like loose pants. It just, everyone's different.
Right. So your custom situation is going to take all your personal situations, make you thinking about those, not just saying, okay, these are your custom things and I'm just going to give you what you ordered. Okay. But I'm going to make you think about, well, what about this? If you consider this and how to use this and incorporate this and, accessorize it with this. So you come up with the best scenario. So anyway, to me, that's the crime where you spend a lot of money and you got just dealt the same thing everybody else has got dealt.
Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about, we took a little break and you were mentioning the TV.
Well, we talked about all the senses.
Yes, we did.
And some people, the sense of sound is very important to them.
Yeah.
And so they want to incorporate our natural thing, since we deal with outdoor living spaces, is we think people want to hear water.
Yeah.
And hear the sound of the water crackling. Well, if the water crackling, I guess the ice is breaking up in the spring.
Have a lot of acid in that pool or something.
So no, you want to hear the wood crackle and the water gurgle and all those particular sounds. But some people, sound that they want to hear is music.
Yeah.
They want to hear the music in their natural setting and outdoor space and enjoy that. But they want something with a really good sound stereo system incorporated. And then added to that is some people are very much into outdoor entertainment, as in they want a theater. So they've got the theater inside the house. They want the theater outside as well.
Yeah.
And so it used to be, well, we put, a TV above the fireplace, and that was a big deal. And then some people are like, well, I need a little bit bigger TV, and so I need a little bit wider fireplace. And now, you got CCTV that, it's
Oh,
144 inches that pops up out of the ground and unfolds. And, you've got, that, or,
so cool.
some people want TV walls now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole wall of a structure, so they're all inspired by Jerry Jones and his big screen TV and, the stadium there.
It's funny, when I went to Cancun, sound was a big deal because I've been around a lot of nice pools that are outside. But having that constant music, just setting that vibe was just another notch. But it's funny when you say TVs because I'm the guy that's when I'm at an outdoor venue, they're playing the game, and I don't want to hear the background music. I want to hear the game. So everyone differs a little bit,
Right. So, but sound, again, you have to understand the client and what they're looking for to come up with. But, there's a lot of people that's the more important thing. And so they don't want a lot of water features to compete with the sound of the music that's going on or the sound of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just depends on their preference.
Right. There's all kinds of levels of luxury, and we're going to dive into a lot of details this upcoming year. And so what would really be important for us to understand is what is something of luxury that you would like more information on.
Yeah.
So if you could share that with us, we have quite a few things teed up already for the year that are going to be really cool, but the input from you is extremely helpful. You can reach us on our social media. You can reach out to Farley Pool Designs. We have a YouTube channel. We have
comment down below, guys. Keep the conversation flowing.
The Instagram account as well as the podcast account. So
So I think that's pretty good. I mean, luxury outdoor living. We've covered a lot of the basis of that topic itself, but we'll go in more depth.
Oh, there's a lot more depth to get into.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of stuff we didn't mention. A lot of different features. A lot of different. Yeah.
One thing also just is the incorporation of art.
Yeah.
In the outdoor space. And that's something that we're getting more and more into in how to display things and create focal points and, what those elements might be, again, to individual to the customer. That's a lot of fun to work with as well.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, I think that's good for this episode.
Yeah. We'll look forward to talking to y'all soon.
Have a good one. Have a good year.